I've got two examples of the rot within the Republican Party. One is that many mainstream Republicans will not disavow Mark Robinson. And two, Lindsey Graham was on national television doing election interference. Great Sunday morning. So here we go. First, we have Tom Cotton, who knows better. He knows better, but will not disavow Mark Robinson.
Do you think that Trump should still support Mark Robinson in North Carolina?
I'll leave that to President Trump, and most importantly, I'll leave it to the people of North Carolina.
I know people who work in this man's office, and I know for a fact that Tom Cotton knows that Donald Trump is an insurrectionist and that he knows that Mark Robinson is a bad man who should not lead a school, let alone a whole ass state. Here's J.D. Vance's non-answer on the Mark Robinson question.
Do you believe him that those were not his posts?
I don't not believe him. I don't believe him. I just think that you have to let these things sometimes play out in the court of public opinion.
I don't not believe him. It's beyond parody. So this is the clear sign of the rot within the Republican Party. Say what you will about Democrats, but our party is so strong that we were able, not me, but the party writ large, was able to make the sitting president step aside because his polling numbers were so weak and his perceived age too old to run effectively for a second term. We were able to do that as a party and install a younger, more vibrant nominee who could excite the base and excite the American people. Republicans are so weak right now that they can't make someone who is running for governor in North Carolina step aside because of allegations of racism, embracing Nazism, and anti-Semitism. They can't do that. And the top people in the party are so weak, they can't even disavow it.
I don't not believe him.
Appalling. And this is one of the reasons why Republicans, until they clean up their act and they can get real adults in the room, they honestly should not be allowed to govern. I mean, they can't even pass spending bills, let alone govern a country. How can you govern a country when you can't even govern your own party? Please. Donald Trump might not have a dog, but he does have a pet. His name is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was on Meet the Press this morning where he refused to disavow Mark Robinson, and then he just did election interference out in the open. Here he is refusing to disavow Mark Robinson, one of the easiest layups in American history. Won't do it.
He deserves a chance to defend himself, Mark Robinson. The charges are beyond unnerving. If they're true, he's unfit to serve for office. If they're not true, he has the best lawsuit in the history of the country for libel. He's claiming they were artificially created and that CNN passed it along to be true. Has NBC confirmed this?
Not yet. We're all looking into it.
Well, so what I would do if I were him, I would hire me the best lawyer I could find. I'd sue the hell out of CNN because what they're saying about him is just unbelievable.
It's not what they're saying about him. I would love Mark Robinson to take CNN to court because I'm sure CNN has even more evidence of all of this being true. And just as some background information, the posts that came on that pornographic website were from a username that was the same username Mark Robinson used. It had the same biographical information as Mark Robinson, the same location. Him and his wife from that username had been married the same amount of time. And there were a lot of matching phrases that Mark Robinson would use in public that would he also use on that website. So there's a lot of evidence that shows that these two people are exactly the same. And I'm sorry, but like of all the excuses you can make, AI is your excuse. That's like the modern day, my dog ate my homework. It's like my dog did the racism, not me. I just don't understand why Republicans like Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton and anyone else, even Donald Trump, I think it would probably help Donald Trump to just disavow this guy and be like, hey, this is not who we are. It would moderate them. That's what they need to do. But they refuse to moderate because this is an extremist party that just tries to get the most wacky people elected in order to further an extremist agenda. That's what this is all about. And Lindsey Graham is also doing as much as he can to interfere with the election. Last time it was in Georgia. This time it's in Nebraska.
For years, it is a very close election. 63 days ago, Chuck Schumer led a coup to overthrow Joe Biden, and he's telling me or any other Republican what we should be doing. If they change the law in Nebraska, it won't be on the phone in the middle of the night. It will be through a democratic process. The entire federal delegation of Nebraska, House members and 2 senators, want this change. To my friends in Nebraska, that one electoral vote could be the difference between Harris being president or not, and she's a disaster for Nebraska and the world.
I hear you're calling it a coup. Of course, Democrats have the right to change who's at the top of their ticket.
So does Nebraska.
Very quickly, before we get to the Middle East, what do you think the chances?
So for those of you who don't know, Nebraska and Maine are 2 of the only states in the country who award their electoral college votes by district, not winner take all. I think if we're going to have an electoral college, it's probably the best way to do it because it is representative of people who live in Nebraska who are blue and live in the cities are still represented in their vote. But what Republicans have been trying to do with just 40-ish days until the election is try to change the rules at the 11th hour so that Nebraska becomes a winner take all state and so that Nebraska is a firmly red state and all of its electoral college votes go to whoever wins the state, which would be the Republican. And so Lindsey Graham has been on a mission. First, like I mentioned, he was in Georgia 4 years ago trying to find 10,000 votes so Donald Trump could steal an election. Now he's in Nebraska. They're getting a little bit smarter. They're learning that you have to steal the election before the votes are counted, not after. And he's in Nebraska now trying to persuade Republicans in the state to change it so that Nebraska becomes a winner-take-all state. This would be catastrophic for the country, and it's also a clear sign that Republicans are anti-democratic. And I love that Lindsey Graham mentions that, you know, there was a coup within the Democratic Party. No, as I said before, this is what adults look like when there's an issue with the party. We come together, we do some like really hard conversations, and we make the decision that's not only best for the party, but best for the American people. I know that probably feels a little alien to Republicans because they have no leadership and they let the craziest, most insane, power-hungry people rise to the top with 0 checks or balances when people like Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham know better. But the rot is from the inside. I think Lindsey Graham used to be maybe one of the good ones. He was friends with Joe Biden, and now he is just completely subservient to Trump, to the fascist wing in his party. He knows better. Maybe he doesn't even know it better. Maybe he's so in the Kool-Aid that he can't even like see reality anymore. I frankly don't care. I think the only way we can break this spell is by winning. And so it is our task for the next 40-ish days to do everything we can to make sure Republicans don't get awarded power. The only way you can defeat a bully is from taking away their ability to have power. And so we have to do that in November.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?